upon our country because of southern border policies enacted by the Biden administration White House. We had this thing under control, man. 2017, 18, 19, we learned a lot of lessons, but I'm gonna tell you, by the time we were deep into 2019, I was here, I was on this committee. Before COVID, don't talk about COVID in 2020, we'll set that year aside. In 2019, we had this thing under control. Additional laws. Let me say I'm going to address the cartels who are watching. Pay attention. I'm talking to you now. With no additional laws, within 2 weeks of the inauguration in 2025, on January 20th, 2025, if President Trump is inaugurated, within 2 weeks, you're shut down. You'll bring no drugs into our country. You'll traffic no human beings into our country. You're going to have to revisit your business model. Take some of those billions of dollars you've sucked out of our country, like the lifeblood of our people, and go build a few more mansions on the beach, because you will not be running human beings and drugs into our country within 2 weeks of President Trump's inauguration next year. If things don't go that way, we'll see. If a different president is inaugurated, it's very likely you'll be able to continue your business model. And won't that be tragic for my country? But you'll still have the issues of me and men like me, because I'll be living on your 1 yard line. But if things go right, you're done. This will be your last Christmas sucking the life out of our country, dumping illegals across our border that you control, and flooding our nation with the poisons that are killing our children to the rate of 100,000 a year. Chief Heike, man, it's good to see you. You know, I made it a point in the years I've been on this committee to get to the border. I learned very quickly that I'd have my most productive codels on my own. And one afternoon a few years ago, I knocked on your gate, just a congressman with a backpack. And you were kind enough to let me in at the San Diego sector. And you spent several hours with me. That was one of the most informative days I'd ever had at the border, of many. So can you, sir, would you share with America, talk about the impact of the policies that were enacted beginning in January of 2021 on the men and women of Border Patrol that were under your command, in your own words? And I will yield sufficient time to you, sir. Just please talk about the impact of the policies that you felt, that your men and women felt, boots on the ground, on the border.
Ultimately, and as I mentioned earlier, with the detention and then sending repatriation, as more and more people were released, more and more people came. Basically turned the Border Patrol agents into transport and care and feeding. It's all the agents have had time to do. And they're well aware of what they miss. The zones that have been empty, the vast areas across the border that don't have a presence because they are sitting in detention processing, or they are taking care of feeding people in processing. That constant awareness of what they're not able to do. They're not able to complete their national security mission. That mission is why they signed on to the job. That mission is what they do, and they're not allowed to get out into the field and do that. And that is what is destroying the morale across the Border Patrol.
Chief, thank you for being here today. I thank all the panelists. Ms. Moran, God bless you, ma'am. We're sorry for your pain. We feel it with you. Sheriff, thank you for your service. Gentlemen, my time has expired. Recognize the gentleman from California, our colleague, Mr. Garcia, for 5 minutes for questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank all of our witnesses for being here. Appreciate your time. Mr. Chairman, I'm wondering if I'm able to see your chart for a minute. Do you mind if I borrow your chart for a quick second, Mr. Chairman? Do you mind if I borrow your chart for just a quick second?
Oh, I apologize. I had not heard you, my colleague, but of course, yes, sir.
Thank you. If I can just,
I only used the chart because Mr. Goldman said he didn't like it, so.
thank you. Well, so I just want to clarify this chart. I know that this chart was also been discussed by a few of my colleagues and Ms. Green and the chairman and others, but I just think this chart is important for us to actually look at this and actually be accurate. Right now, it says that Trump left office at this point in the chart. That's actually not when Donald Trump left office. Donald Trump actually left office right here on this chart. And so, you know, when we're talking about charts, we should be very accurate when actual Donald Trump actually left office. And you can see that the actual immigration and what was happening with border crossings was already going up by the time Donald Trump left office. And so I think it's important that when we have charts, and I appreciate being allowed to use this one, that we're accurate about actually when this actually happened. So facts are really important. But I want to also add one more thing as we're talking about facts and things that are being said that are truthful, is we're having a conversation about immigration and the border. I want to go back to what happened last week during the presidential debate between former President Trump and the vice president. When he was asked about his role, which was brought up today, about killing the bipartisan border deal in front of the Congress, you know, instead of actually discussing that, of course, he went, the former president, on what I consider a kind of strange rant about Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio. And I want to repeat what actually Donald Trump said. This is a quote. "They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats." Continuing, "They're eating the pets of the people." Keep the safety and security of pets very seriously. But this notion that Haitian immigrants are eating pets is not only xenophobic, in my opinion, but has caused real harm to the people of Springfield, Ohio. Now, the Republican governor of the state, the Republican mayor of Springfield have testified about it, and they agree that the story was not true. Even the woman who created the original Facebook post, which started the rumor, has disavowed and made up the story. And in fact, today it was reported that she's actually apologizing for what she said. Now, Governor DeWine and the mayor of the city and the city manager of the city have all said there's no evidence for the story that Donald Trump discussed at the debate about immigrants eating cats and pets. Now, a better use of our committee's time would be to investigate the right-wing extremism in bomb threats, which have closed middle and elementary schools in Springfield and targeted local officials. People are scared in this town because of these threats and these attacks against immigrants. Now, there is a real threat directly linked to the extremist rhetoric we're hearing. We know this to be true. And we know that Donald Trump is not the only Republican that is amplifying these claims about Haitian immigrants. J.D. Vance claimed, and I quote, this is just a real quote, "Reports showed that people had their pets abducted and eaten," end quote. That's from Senator Vance. He also claimed that there's been a rise of infectious diseases, even though the county health commissioner said, and I quote, "If you look at all reportable communicable diseases together for the year ending 2023, you will see that we are at the lowest rate since 2016. Now, on CNN this weekend, J.D. Vance said again, "If I have to create stories so that the American media actually pay attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do." I want to repeat that. If I have to create stories so that the American media actually pay attention, that's what I'm going to do. We're creating stories about immigrants eating animals, which is quite a shame. And there are folks on this committee that continue to also peddle some of these, in my opinion, mistruths and attacks on immigrants. Now, Donald Trump and his allies, I believe, are trying to make the American people think that immigrants are strange or harmful or dangerous. I believe this to be truly un-American as an immigrant myself. I want to also close by just saying something that a CEO in Springfield actually said. The CEO said, quote, "I wish I had 30 more," in speaking about the Haitian immigrants. Our Haitian associates come to work every day. They stay at their machines, they achieve their numbers, and they are here to work. That is the American story. Immigrants come here to work and to contribute, and I wish we'd stop attacking this important part of what our country is. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.